Hey guys, so today I want to talk about what really motivated us as far as Trucks Gone Wild to start traveling and going to other places as much as we did. Somebody asked me about that the other day, and I thought it was interesting because now, if you look at it, being around for 20 plus years, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, you're going to do that, you're going to promote, you're going to do all that, you're going to have to go to all the different places. But at the time when we started, we didn't know we were going to end up doing all that because, I mean, we kind of made everything up as we went along and still are to some extent. But if you go back to when everything started, and keep in mind, this is just my version. You could talk to Chuck and get a different version. You could talk to Chris and get a different version. And that's totally fine. I don't always remember everything perfectly. So I'm kind of giving you like a summary. But by the time we were getting things going with Trucks Gone Wild a little bit, we weren't traveling yet, and all the events that we were doing were basically at 8 seconds. There was a little mud pit there. We did some tug of wars and some car crushing and some cool stuff like that, and a lot of show and shine. We did a lot of show and shine stuff back then because, quite honestly, when we got started, it's not like there were 1,000 blower motor tractor tire trucks all over the country like there are now, and that's. Again, I said this Saturday night at the barn. When people say it ain't like it used to be, you're right. It's so much better than it used to be. It's awesome. And I will argue that all day long. But don't let me lose focus. I've been known to do that. So anyway, things are going good at the club, right? We know the club it's probably closing down soon because parking was an issue downtown and all this, that, the other. But man, the events on Saturday nights that we're doing at 8 seconds, we're getting all these people there. And then boom, we find out, rug pulled. Hey guys, we got to close the club. Okay, that sucks. Man, we were just getting momentum. Now what do we do? And then Chuck got a phone call, and he got a phone call from Roy Spiker in Lakeland. Roy owned Lakeland Mudbox out there at 33 and I-4. Probably a lot of you have gone to events out there. And we were like, okay, that's cool. I live in Claremont. It's not that far. And we'll do some events down there. Struck a deal with Roy. Everybody's happy. And next thing we know, we're having to talk some people into going. And these are people that live in Lakeland, like our friends. We're like, hey, we're doing a thing in Lakeland. They're like, So we had to let everybody know. And I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. But we had to let everybody know that we were running the event. And when I say we were running the event, we did it. We hired the front staff. We worked the gate. I think I met Wister Ritchie working the gate at one of our events at Lakeland years ago. And we would get there at about 4:30 in the morning to try to get traffic off the road because those were one-day events back then. Nobody had RVs back in those days. You trailered it in for the day and you left that night. It was a whole different ball game. So we would get there. And I mean, we would run the events, we would do the payouts. About the only thing we didn't do that we didn't even know anybody did, there was a guy that used to clean the toilets. We didn't even know he was there. If you've been to Lakeland, you know what I'm talking about. And he would see us at the end of the day with his hand out. It was interesting. It was fun. So we're going there. I don't know how long we do events at Lakeland, but we're not traveling anywhere yet, but Lakeland events are going good, man. We had one in May and one in December, and they were home runs. I mean, these were big events. We were booking monster trucks, the whole bit. Everything was awesome. And then all of a sudden, probably the biggest show that we did, it was awesome. We're up in the drag tower. Roy comes in. Man, we're all like group hugging. This was a great event. Great job, fellas. Boom, boom, boom. And he looks at us and he goes, all right, fellas, we're good. I'm taking it back over. I don't need you guys anymore. And we're like, what? We're like, did you see this big show? He goes, yep, I'm gonna do it without you. All right, rug pull, number 2, right? And now we're like, what are we gonna do now? Sometimes you're in a position in work or with a career where it just feels like these things, these opposing forces, if you will, or these bad things just happen to you. And oftentimes when you're older and you're looking back, you're going, that was probably the best thing that could have happened to us because it kicked us in the butts and it made us start moving. The only reason our company has done what it's done is because we took it on the road, man, and we started meeting everybody. Now, the cool thing was, we're not total dummies. The cool thing was, we noticed at Lakeland, we were meeting people that were driving from, different places. I remember we met Spencer and Bam Bam. They came down and we're like, hey guys, how's it going? We got along fabulously with them. We're like, where are y'all from? They're like, just south of Tallahassee. They said, we drove about 3 hours to get here. We're like, somebody drove 3 hours to come to one of these events? Our minds were blown, right? And then we would meet other people that would fly in from out of town. They would probably hear about the events on the old Chuck's Truck Forum back in the day, and they would fly down. Or a lot of guys were truck drivers, and they would do like long hauls here or there, and they would time their runs to where they could hit an event. We met a lot of people like this, and they told us about different places. They told us about bricks. They told us about just wherever. Luke Mudwalker came into the mix early and was talking about coming up to bogs in Michigan, and we're like, holy crap, other people do this too. And it was so much fun. And you're like, wow, there's something called Vermonster. This guy Randy runs it. Okay, well, we'll get in touch with him. And you fast forward a couple of years, and that's how word of mouth, people that went to those events would come down to one of ours, tell us about it. We would basically get a phone number or an email and start chatting. Or then, Facebook popped up during all this time too, because it was MySpace at first, and then Facebook popped up and everybody had a Facebook page. And I think I saw the Louisiana Mudfest one. And send them a little message. Hey, my name's Matt. Here's what we do. And it was just totally organic. And that is exactly how it happened. Because I think people now, they might see it and go, man, there's a whole schedule of events all over the country. And it's just fun, and look at all that. Man, it wasn't always like that. We had no idea that was ever going to happen. And we're very thankful that it did. But it took years of that. And then there's other cases too, where guys like Al Benasaki, for example, came down. He would come down to the big Florida events at Redneck Mud Park. I met him at Plant Bamboo. I think he was camping next to Chasing Paper Pete at Redneck one time or something, and they hit it off. And Pete's like, dude, he goes, you got to meet this guy, Al. He goes, I'll vouch for him. He's Canadian. He's cool. He's doing something up in Canada you want to talk to him about. And that's another one of my favorite memories, was there at Plant Bamboo. I meet Al. We're in our little camp area. There's a fire going. Al and I probably drink, 6 or 8 beers while we're just laughing and joking and really getting along. Al's one of our favorite people now. And I mean, I shook his hand. We had a deal, and we went there the following July. And then I had to go tell Chuck and Chris. I go, oh, yeah, we're going to Canada next year. And they're like, what? But again, it's just one of those silly little things that has worked out. So why do I do these videos? One, it's fun to reminisce. It's fun to talk about that stuff. But two, there's so many people that are starting their own things, doing their own businesses or whatever. You're not always going to know where exactly you're going. You might have a goal here, right? And you're working towards it, but don't be surprised when your whole plan changes and you don't know why, and you don't even know if it's going to be the right thing or not. Hell, we thought Mega Truck Challenge was going to be the future of Trucks Gone Wild. That might have to be its own video one day. Thank goodness we didn't go that route, because that we would have been done. So, but you don't always know where you're going. But again, opportunities present themselves. Take those opportunities. Be open to change, because you never know what's going to happen. And so if we weren't, I don't know, we might have given up when 8 Seconds closed, or who knows, or even when Roy basically booted us out of Lakeland. Oh, the other tug of war stuff. One more minute. Tug of war stuff has done the same thing, because we've been doing that. Our version of tug of war. Lakeland was doing tug of war, before we were doing it at 8 Seconds. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, we started at 8 Seconds, then they closed, and the Bill and John knew a guy named Tyler who was opening up this place called the Jesse Black Saloon. So he was all about it. It was a good hook for him to get crowds in. By that time, we had a little bit of a reputation, and so we moved it over there. And we did them at Jesse Black's for a couple of years. And I remember we were coming up on Monster Eve, and I had worked for the Sullivan Brothers prior to all this as a nightclub DJ. We were coming up on Monster Eve, and Tyler called me one day. He goes, I got to close the club down. I hate to do this, but he goes, I can't do Monster Eve. Yeah, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? Still get along with Tyler. No hard feelings on that. Call up Steve Sullivan, and he's like, well, let's talk about this. So got with Steve and Mark, who I already knew, and we agreed to do that. So that's how we got over to Cowboys, which it was Sullivan's Entertainment Complex for a long time, then over to Cowboys. I don't know how long we did pools there, 5 or 6 years maybe, or something like that. And then when the parking lot next to them, where the big bus station is, when that sold, there was just nowhere to park people. And so it's like, all right, well, that sucks. And then I got an email right when that happened, I think from Tori at the barn, and it was like, oh, let's go over there and take a look. and hit it off great. So again, I've had the good fortune of working with some wonderful people, and I just hope everything keeps going. But that's a brief 10-minute summary on how Trucks Gone Wild started traveling when we didn't even really know that was going to happen. So that's it for today. See y'all.